Well, hi everybody. Oh, it's so nice to be doing this again. I had to take a break. I had to take a break from the TV for the last 2 days. There's just so much stuff coming out that's totally ridiculous and being ignored that I couldn't come up with anything to read on or anything else. So I did some meditating and tried to connect in with Rennick, who's my ancient Egyptian spirit guide that helps me do these readings. I woke up with him telling me when I put my hands in the water, I'd get the answer to what to read on. So when I was doing my dishes this morning and cleaning up my kitchen, I always have been attuned to water. I had a pool most of my life till I moved up here. And that's when I always had my most intuitive things come through. But anyway, I don't like to read on Donald Trump because I really just do not like this pussy grabber and chief's attitude about anything, and I sure hate to get his energy on me. But I'm going to get in it today because I know when my first reading, I talked a little bit about why I wanted to do them and some things I thought was going on, and then I thought, well, that sounds kind of conspiratorial theorist, what theories or whatever. You're not into those. But I'm getting that little scratch on the back of my neck again. There's something really big going on here if somebody's watching the whole picture. And since I'm an old lady and I get to listen to all different newses all day long if I want to, and that's usually what I end up doing. And I really think there's a method to this madness. Really think that Trump is an evil genius because he's such a freaking idiot. I just think that he's so narcissistic and so into himself and his own power that he may not even know how much he's being manipulated. And of course it's towards the thoughts and the programs that he's been in all his life anyway. I know when he was first running for president and there was a lot of research and stuff done on him, I think it was that guy that wrote The Art of the Deal was saying that when he was talking to Trump, when he first started writing that book, he was asking him, after he was around him for 30 minutes, because he was already thinking this guy's probably never read a book before in his life, and he asked him if he had ever read a book, and I'm pretty sure the comment was, well, when I was in military school, I had Mein Kampf always laying by my bed, and I looked at it. I read it when I felt it like it or when I got bored. But that's really chilling, especially when you look at what's going on here. I can't even, since he can't even carry on a complete sentence and not even read a paragraph, even imagine him even reading something like that. But he was in a military school, and he was younger then, and maybe he had to do some reports on something. Maybe, who knows. But anyway, I heard that said, and I don't even remember, it's been before he even got elected. But I'm wondering if maybe Steve Bannon himself said that he talks to him regularly on the phone, even though he's still not a member of anything and, whatever, supposedly out of the circle. And Stephen Miller's probably just a reincarnated Nazi. I bet he used to run the SS when he was in his last incarnation. I just have a real strong feeling he wasn't running it, he was up there. So I'm wondering if because he's so dumb, he's being totally manipulated. It wouldn't be hard to manipulate somebody that's such a narcissist and so stupid and unaware of what's going on around him because he's so into himself. If you had the same ideas about life, and we know he grew up with those same ideals about life because Donald Trump's father was in the Ku Klux Klan. And that's That's not a conspiracy theory. They have the paperwork to show where he was arrested and down to town New York marching with him. So we know what kind of background and his thinking, so it wouldn't be too hard to get in there and manipulate somebody like him. This is probably going to be a two-part reading because I don't want to get in a hurry. I'm going to ask Rennick to come in and help me. He's told me he'd help me with these because oh, that's something else I want to talk about real quick while I'm shuffling these cards. I had people start leaving comments and writing me notes, and that makes me feel so good. I was just wondering if I was just kind of wasting my time doing this channel, and just in the last couple of days, that's picked up, and my subscribers have started picking up a little bit. Had some people ask me some stuff about, like something like about tags. I don't have any idea what that is. I've had them ask me before if I wanted to tag it. So I wrote to her and asked her to write my email and explain to me what they were. And I know this sounds silly, but I'm not a young woman, and I never even had an iPad till 3 months ago. So I'm doing really good just to get the videos up. And if there's any way I can increase this and make it more interesting, because I'm getting more comments and feeling like more people are enjoying it, it'd be a lot easier to do for me, I think. And if it's helping anybody out there, it would be wonderful. And this way it makes me, some of the comments I've got, people seem to feel like it's helping them. So that's wonderful. So it helps me too to know that there's like-minded people out there. So any comments or any subscribes, or if you want a private reading, you can email me at lintarotreadings@gmail.com. And right now, between now and October, which is my birthday, I'm going to change the price on my birthday. I'm doing readings for $30. That's for like a 40-minute reading. So that's a good price. That's fact. Like I said, 25 years ago I was charging $25, so that's a great price. So anyway, let's get into this with the first row across, and it's going to be Trump. And he is a diabolical genius who's manipulating the whole world, or if he's just so dumb and so full of himself and doesn't realize that people that grew up with some of the same ideas on life that he is totally telling him what to do and when to do it, and how much he is really tearing stuff apart. This is what blows me away. I mean, his first Secretary of State came in there and fired anybody that could help us make any negotiations for peace anywhere in the world, and cleaned out that department where there's no overheads. Now there's no overheads except people that he's put in there and he can jerk out, because none of them are really permanent employees. He's setting it up where he's got control over everything. And I don't feel like the man can't even say a whole sentence or read a paragraph without slurring his words and getting all twisted up. So is he really that smart, or is he being guided through this by Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, and maybe even Steve Mnuchin? I don't know if they're starting their own Third Reich or what they're doing, but they're up to something. And it's more devious when even down to what they just did to the military. I guess they're going to get rid of the transgender, or start don't ask, don't tell, and we all know how great that worked. Starts all kinds of animosity and people getting beat up in the service and stuff. It's horrible. I don't think he's smart enough to tear our whole government and the world up like he's doing without being guided by somebody. I think he's being guided by somebody. So let's do this. Evil genius or complete nincompoop? Well, first one's the Ten of Swords. If that came up anywhere else, I'd think it was blackmail. That he was being blackmailed by these people. But I don't think they'd have to blackmail him for him to carry out their agendas. So what's going on here? Maybe this is what he's doing. Maybe he just figuring if he can't live long enough to rule the whole world and be king of everything, that he'll just tear everything up. that he'll just keep stabbing one place and another place and another place until everything's just totally messed up. But that still doesn't say if he's just a kid throwing a tantrum or somebody with a diabolical plan. Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands. Running in there on his horse. That's Stephen Miller. He is behind this. He's behind a lot of it. He may not be behind all of it, but that's not Trump. It's Trump throwing the daggers. This Knight of Wands is telling him where to throw them. And this is the gold. To see how much chaos and unrest they can change in the streets. Because right now, Trump knows he's in so much trouble. He's trying to figure out how he can start a civil war if things don't go his way. And by firing everybody, the head of all these departments that are usually in control of our security and everything, by whittling them down to where there's nobody left at the top, he's pretty sure he can get control. And that may be some of Trump's thinking, but I think it's Stephen Miller, and I think it's Steve Bannon. Let's see what the next card is. Yeah, they're scamming the poor. Not surprised about that at all. It was his ideal to come in there and just tear everything up, come in there, pilfer the money, start a civil war if he had to keep everybody on his side while he robs the poor. So the next row across is going to be for Steve Bannon. Is Steve Bannon in on this? Is this his plan that they're all working on? Queen of Coins. Well, him and the NRA was putting money into the Republican Party to get things started. And this could be the Mercers. She comes out as the Mercers a lot, the Queen of Coins. Yep, they offered Trump the presidency if he would do what they said. Sometimes he forgets how he got it because he's not too bright, but and the challenge to this, the worst part, was bringing in the devil. They brought in the devil, and he's definitely a devil. I don't even know how his body functions. He's so corrupt. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just drop dead, and I'm praying he doesn't drop dead while he's in office, because if he does, they'll make a freaking martyr out of him. And if they do that, you know what they'll be saying. They'll be saying that, I need to talk louder, I think. They'll be saying, if they do that, make a martyr out of him, that he's like some kind of Christ or something. Then I was wondering what the new 10 Commandments would be. Screw your neighbor before they screw you, or do his wife and tell him about it on the phone. That was one of Trump's favorite deals to do before he got into office. Wonder what the 10 Commandments would be. Instead of taking care of the poor, lock them in cages. Wonder what the new ones would be. Anyway, I'll probably cut this part out, but I'm just wondering what it would be like if he did get dropped dead naturally, or just because he's so unhealthy because of the way he eats. And I know his blood pressure has to be going over because he doesn't sleep at night. We know he's taking drugs. That's what makes your tongue thick like that. I don't know if anybody's... a lot of uppers that do that make your mouth so dry that your tongue gets so thick that you can't talk. A lot of uppers do that. But then